Hey, what's up, guys? Tougie here, back again. A somewhat tired Tougie here, back again. Just woke up, but that's okay. So if the voice is a little bit softer, and a little bit less oomph to it, at least you know why. So originally, I wasn't gonna make a video, at least yet, about the top 50 overall ratings for NHL 20. I was gonna wait until the end. You already have someone like Tactics, who is doing a video, I think, every day, based off of the next 10 people that are revealed, so I highly recommend you check out his video, because it's something, a discussion that he was having that's led me to make this video in the first place, where, obviously, I think even more so than being a franchise guy, I'm known for being the roster editing guy. And I have already given my thoughts on Twitter as far as, hey, here are the overalls that they are, here's what I'm going to put them at the start of 20, based off of everything that I've mentioned in the roster editing doc, where it's, here's the, rating scale that EA has. So I put, player performance, base it on that scale, and that's how I get the overall numbers, obviously. So aside from that, I wasn't planning on doing much, but Tactics was having a discussion when it comes to the individual attributes, because on this page, of course, you can end up seeing the cards. Now, I know the full list has been revealed. I don't think the full card info is out for everybody, but he was having a discussion about, I think it was endurance for somebody. I don't remember who. It might have been Aho. It was, the conversation was about player endurance, and I don't remember who it was. It might have been Point, maybe not. But that led me to go down the rabbit hole, of course, of, hey, here's what I think. And obviously, I'm already going to say it, I'm not too happy with the attributes for a lot of players. Because, okay, here's the primary example that kind of ruined it for me, all right? It might ruin it for you, too. So, we have Dylan Larkin here, right? Where's the pop-out button? There we go. We have Dylan Larkin here, right? 84 shot blocking is the stat that really stands out to me. Now, look, when it comes to the attributes in general, this is all we have to help differentiate one player from another. It's not much. It's not the best system in the world, and obviously certain things like defensive awareness, strength, body checking, those are more heavily weighted than discipline or shot blocking, as they probably should be. But here's the example that frustrated me, right? So Dylan Larkin has 84 shot blocking. This past season, Dylan Larkin had 38 blocks as a center, right? So then we take a look at Sebastian Aho, also a center. He has an 87. Sebastian Aho had 34 blocks this past season. So yes, Sebastian Aho has four fewer blocks this year, but a +3 better in terms of shot blocking. Not the biggest deal in the world when you look at it as just its own thing, but I can't help but think that's not the only example of something like that occurring, where at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know how much they value actually having the attributes be a little bit more realistic. I don't know how much they do. That takes 5 seconds to look up on Hockey Reference who had more blocks. Now, to further expand upon this, Ryan Getzlaf led centers and blocks this year. Getzlaf, there you are. Whoops. Getzlaf. He led centers and blocks this year with 74. You also had Adam Henrique over 70, and you had a couple of wingers, Ben, Stone, Parise, also break 70. Boone Jenner was at 70 as a center, as was Nick Bonino. So Ryan Getzlaf at 74 blocks is the pinnacle. Obviously, we don't know what Ryan Getzlaf's attributes are yet. He hasn't been listed. I don't remember if he's on the list, if he's still up there or not. But I can't help but think that, okay, well, Ryan Getzlaf's the pinnacle here, so he's at a 95 blocking. I can't help but think that that's not the case. So he's probably around a 90, I would guess, maybe a 92. And then you have somebody that had just about half of the total blocks, a little bit over half the total blocks that he had at an 87, who's already higher rated than who we should be higher rated than in Dylan Larkin, or shouldn't be. It's the same frustration, I guess. And of course, this is why we roster edit every year. And it's frustrating because it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult to get something like that right. Shot blocking isn't the most highly weighted stat or attribute when it comes to setting a player's overall. All you have to do is drop that down to like an 82. That's all you have to do. And there you go. This can be viewed as nitpicking, and maybe in this specific example it is, because again, shot blocking is not all that valuable of an attribute. But the point is, this is just one example that I found within the first 4 listed players in the top 50. So out of 4 players, I already found an example of like, really? Come on now. Do you think that's the only one? Probably not. So, unfortunately, it looks like I might have my work cut out for me in terms of roster editing this year, especially if I want to put that little bit of extra emphasis on making sure that player attributes are where they should be. And as far as roster editing is concerned, I still can't officially say anything, but I will say it'd be a pretty big feature, and you can make up your own mind as to whether or not they would announce it before we're 2 weeks out from the game, if not a little bit less, due to the EA Access early trial, which I assume there will be one. So yeah, again, in terms of that list, at least in terms of whether or not I agree with the overalls, I'll probably, make some things like this and then just talk about the top 50 list at the end once they've officially revealed it. Again, I'm aware of the leak that was on our hockey, but when it comes to the stats, or the attributes, I'm already not all that optimistic, we'll say. I mean, again, I haven't even looked at a lot of the other ones. I got to the top 4, and I won't say I was necessarily looking for an issue. It's just, again, I saw Tactics talking. I forget who he was talking to, but he was talking to someone about one individual player's endurance rating being a bit low. And, again, that might honestly be the case. I mean, let's take a look at Morgan Rielly here. So that's blocking, that's hitting, right? So 114 blocks. He has the same shot blocking rating as Sebastian Aho. Now, you could say, well, if Aho was a defenseman, would he have that many blocks? I kind of doubt it. There's obviously that one argument between, oh, well, centers aren't in position to block shots as much. So you got to kind of prorate that, in which case, again, I would expect Ryan Getzlaf to have a 95 in shot blocking, and I can only assume that he won't. 85 hitting for Rielly is relatively fair, I gotta be honest. Jack Eichel's ratings, for the hell of it. Let's take a look at old Eichel. So 51, was that 51? 51 blocks. So he has more block shots than Aho, and he has 5 fewer in shot blocking. 85 checking for 70 hits. That's relatively fair, although you gotta wonder for Tom Wilson, then is he gonna have like a 95? Who's to say? Who knows for sure? Phil Kessel, I'm intrigued. I thought it was him for the endurance, but you know what? Let's take a look at Kessel here for the hell of it. Just another example. 18 block shots. He has an 80. Just saying, it doesn't feel like we're making the most of the scale. 18 block shots, he has an 80. You had Larkin at an 84 for 38 block shots. And then the body checking for Kessel, he had 12 hits all year. 12 in 82 games. He has 80 body checking. Now again, that's more of an example of you have to get somebody up to the rating you want them to be at, so the body checking is going to be a little bit higher. And in fairness, I mean, yeah, it's kind of what you have to do, because if you look at a lot of these other attributes, there really isn't too much else that you can bump up. I mean, you could bump up the offensive awareness, the shooting by a little bit more, probably just give him a little bit better strength while still having the checking be lower. The aggressiveness in particular, if that stat works, or if that attribute works as you think would work, that should be like a 60, because he doesn't throw hits. And Phil Kessel, I don't know, I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this. I don't exactly envision him as the type of player who battles in the corners all that often. There are ways to still get Kessel's overall to where you want it to be, while slightly overrating stats that are already going to be good, rather than overrating stats that should not be good. But, again, as far as how much one cares about that, I don't know. Does it bother me? Well, how long has this video been? That'll tell you my opinion on the subject. But again, that's just the first page. There are already examples where it's like, okay, come on now. NHL 20 is almost here, though. Here's hoping I get the game about a week early, because I have my work cut out for me, like Braden Holtby being an 89. I don't know. I don't know if Braden Holtby should be an 89 after those are his last 2 save percentages. NHL 20 is going to be fun.